Hey guys, Coach Ryan and Paul here from Resilient Training Lab. So lately we've been talking a lot about stretching, improving our ranges of motion, and today we're going to talk about warm-ups leading into a training session. And so if we think about the first activity or first exercise that we're going to be doing, we want to have a very specific warm-up that's going to get us in and out of that position that is going to be trained. So if we use back squat as an example, we might want to have a drill in there that's going to move their hips in a similar motion to a back squat, move their upper body in a similar motion to a back squat. And then we're going to want to back squat with increasing loads as we work up to our first working set.
So when we start to make warm-ups for our athletes, we have to look at kind of what they specifically need and what they struggle with in that particular movement and get them into positions that will make them more confident in that position. So we're going to use back squat as an example throughout the video, but you could do this for whatever exercise is first in your workout, whether it's deadlift, bench press, or whatever movement you're doing first. You want to break down that movement and your movement pattern in it and look at what you are lacking at and make sure that you're choosing drills that are attacking specific points. You never want to just do a random mobility drill. You want to make sure that there's a purpose and a why. Whenever you're doing something and someone walks past you and they're like, why are you doing that? You should pretty much always have an answer. You shouldn't just be aimlessly doing stuff in the weight room. So when we develop those warm-ups, we have a kind of more generalized warm-up, and then we go into a specific warm-up. And as time goes on, we're trying to get the athlete to a position where they have to do less and less of a general warm-up and can jump right into the specific warm-up. I've been training for like 15 years now, and I'm at the point where I can kind of just come in and get under the bar first thing and go, because when we're doing the back squat, to warm up the back squat, the best thing to do is the back squat. That is the specific motion you're trying to warm up. You're using the exact musculature, going through the exact range of motion that you're going to train, and that is the movement that you want to warm up. You don't want to waste your time doing all these random other warm-ups.
And I think it's really important to highlight too, if we're training, our goal is to drive adaptation and change in our body. And so if we're spending maybe 3-6 months, a year, doing the same drill to get ourselves ready to do an exercise, is that drill really driving change and adaptation in our body? And so this is just an example of what Paul said about how we want to be getting rid of the non-specific warm-ups and really get to a point where our body is capable of just walking into the gym and squatting. And so while that might not be the case when you first start to train in your first couple blocks, that is the long-term goal and why you will see your warm-up start to whittle down as time goes on, because your body is getting more efficient at doing whatever the exercise is, more efficient at squatting, deadlifting, benching. That way we can come in and really just spend a majority of our time training really hard and driving a lot of adaptation.
And Ryan brings up another good point there is you shouldn't be doing the same drills over and over and over again. Those more general drills should be progressing as well and should be getting harder and more specific as you get better at them. You might go from just getting your hands over your head to working on pulling into like a wall slide or something, to maybe just the first thing you do is get under the bar and use that bar to kind of get into that position and own it for 30 seconds or so, and then come back out, where you're progressing towards a more specific drill to get you into the position that you struggle with.
And so at the end of the day, our goal is to be as efficient as possible, drive as much change and adaptation as we can, while continuing to drive progress the entire time.
And then when you have less time spending doing a general warm-up, you can spend more time under the bar. You can get more sets in during your warm-up process so that you can get more practice with the skill that you're trying to be better at, because there is skill involved in all the lifts. So the more practice you get, the more skill you get more chances to practice your mindset and approach to the bar and being able to kind of practice some of the technical things you're working on, so you don't have to think about them as much at the heavier weights. So there's a lot of advantages of kind of slimming down on the general warm-up and beefing up your more specific warm-up.